Ulysses came out here approximately 25 years ago. Long time no see, on land, in the water, and certainly not in front of a reality TV camera. Liz Cavalier of Swamp People was supposedly not someone to be trifled with. They said she was courageous, powerful, and utterly committed. However, they cautioned that betraying her could lead to consequences. Seasoned hunters and crew members who have worked with her both warned us. We were utterly enthralled by her confidence, and smiled that we failed to see them. Drowned individuals. If you thought you know Liz Cavalier, prepare to have your assumptions shattered after watching this video. A modest start. Every great story has to start somewhere, as we all know. Cavalier Elizabeth was born on January 21, 1970, in Pier Park, Louisiana, a location rich in St. John swamp life, to parents CJ and Ella Dupe Prey. Her parents were alligator hunters with years of experience. The story says, she naturally became one herself. I felt that it was more. It seemed to be something going on in the household, and Liz clearly noticed the footsteps on the sand. Even before she could walk as a newborn, Liz was fully absorbed in the swamp culture and the art of hunting. Curiously, during an interview, she reminisced about her father taking her and her mother out on the boat when she was a baby, and she drank from a bottle. But he refrained from letting her come too near to the alligators until she was older and the dangers were clearer. Her exposure to marsh life started at a young age, but safety was always her primary priority. Her father finally gave up when she was 12 and let her go on hunts after a long wait. After years of patiently waiting, Liz finally had her chance, and it was the best day of her life. Since Liz had already begun to improve her shooting accuracy and had been known for her pinpoint accuracy in the swamp, her accomplishments signified a dramatic shift. Furthermore, while taking part in hunts alongside her dad, she was presented with a 7-foot-long pet alligator, Charlie Pie. This remarkable connection with such a big animal shows that Liz had a deep connection to the swamp and was comfortable around alligators from a young age. Later on in life, she drew to hunting for its practicality and aesthetic value. Through extensive observation of her father's actions, she learned the ins and outs of swamp culture, gator spotting, boat management, and, finally, the art of accurately pressing the trigger. What a fantastic day! Was quite remarkable, as her love for gator hunting began at a young age. The History Channel sought a talented and experienced female alligator hunter for the 2011 to 2012 season of Swamp People, which is where her rise to fame began. As previously reported, Troy Landry is after his normal sharpshooter. Clint took a temporary leave. The king of the swamp needed someone else. Liz was an obvious pick because of her stellar reputation in their hometown. Decades had passed since she and Troy first crossed paths. Befriended by one another's families, she was much more convincing because of her father's connections to the marsh. After Liz joined Troy's squad as their shooter, the two of them gained a reputation for their faultless cooperation. Liz would kill a gator with pinpoint accuracy, even though Troy could hone in on one, and that was ideal for the History Channel's purposes. Her skills and cleverness earned her the nickname Lucky Liz among her admirers, and the two of them formed an unstoppable force. During the third season, Liz shockingly took charge of her own boat and crew on Pan Island, demonstrating her independence. An expertise dealing with alligators undoubtedly presented its own share of dangers for these individuals. Despite their skill and caution, they would occasionally get hurt. On this one, Liz was also involved. During a specific in the riveting episode Dark Waters, she suffered injuries while attempting to capture a gator. While accounts may differ on specifics, it is undeniable that her injuries sustained from the fall from the boat or the battle were serious enough to warrant attention. A speedy recovery allowed Liz to display her characteristic resilience and perseverance. She wasted little time getting back to hunting and assisting her crew in the upcoming episode, Rising Suns. She shot to fame in an instant, both as a skilled hunter and a personification of St. John's grit and authenticity. Swamp culture as a result of her resolute determination. To sum up, Liz Cavalier's life narrative is one of grit, determination, and unwavering courage. It begins with her life as a bayou baby and ends with her reign as Gator Queen of the Swamp People. Things started to shift and change just when the audience thought the swamp dwellers had finally found their queen. Appeared to be in poor shape. It took an unexpected turn. Surprisingly, the production firm behind Swamp People went through some major changes after season 6 ended in the middle of 2015. Surprisingly, original media started a major cast shakeup, leaving the actors and viewers with a lot of unanswered questions. Sadly, Jessica Cavalier, the daughter of series regular Liz Cavalier, who fans affectionately call the Gator Queen, and Liz herself, were removed from the show without warning. When it came to the hunters and the viewers who had become accustomed to seeing them all the time, the choice caught everyone off guard. They weren't prepared for this because there was no advance warning, explanation, or goodbye. A cold tone was used to announce Liz's departure. She and her daughter were among the original cast members who were simply informed that they would not be going to be back for season 7. The news seemed abrupt and impersonal, and no explanation was given. The news of her dismissal devastated Liz, because she had invested so much time and energy into developing a genuine connection with her audience. This move felt like a betrayal. She gave an honest assessment, and her annoyance shone through. At the center of her argument was her unequivocal expression of confusion and sadness over the fact that she and the others had no idea why they had been severed. She stressed that her supporters were the genuine deal more than anything else. Fall short in this situation, it seemed to Liz that the audience had developed feelings for the original cast. The hunters were watched, encouraged, and engaged with by them. It would have been the same as killing the show mid-plot to evict them without a valid reason. That the modifications deprived fans of more than just famous faces was something she passionately and succinctly emphasized. As a result, the show lost its emotional core. Coming from someone who had always been honest and who had fully accepted her role as both a performer and an observer, that sentiment held a lot of weight, as well as a symbol for swamp life. In Liz's mind, her part on Swamp People was more like a melting pot of her history, family, and culture than a malleable part she could swap out any time she pleased. Her tone was calm yet resolute. Despite her seeking drama or empathy, her speech instead conveyed a sense of clarity grounded in loss and disillusionment. The time and energy she had dedicated to the performance and its audience for so long was well worth acknowledgement and, if nothing else, an explanation. Her speech was direct. The transition thought it was arbitrary and uncaring. Lost was more than just a job. A link had been broken. The swamp, the watchers, and the cameras all worked together to create a significant whole. She felt the loss, along with the lack of notice and resolution. The pain of change is magnified. Her abrupt resignation marked the shocking end of her broadcast career, which had previously been shrouded in mystery. An irate fan expressed their belief that Liz had served as a symbol of resilience, heritage, and authentic swamp life, and that she had been more than just an entertainment figure. Culture, also. He was unhappy that Liz was not your average gator hunter and thought the original media should have removed her from the show tactfully and elegantly. Liz was still determined, but she was discouraged. When she left, she was abruptly cut off by the very platform that she had laboriously built over the years. This was definitely not a career move or a decision that was jointly agreed upon. A natural separation did not lead to it. Committed workers were treated as though they had no say in the matter, and the decision was taken without consulting them. Ultimately had little significance. In the end, Liz's outward expression of irritation was driven by principle. She thought there had to be a better way, one that recognized her, and those like her, as more than just TV characters. They were the ones who shaped the show's character. She was dissatisfied with both the actual cutting and the method used. She claimed that she was discreetly and coldly let go of, and that she was treated with complete indifference toward the trust that her fans had invested in her during the years. The sheer amount of frustration she endured was unbearable. The shakeup ultimately ended up ending more than a chapter. It caused resentment. The question remained unanswered for Liz. Why would you treat the individuals who worked so hard to make your program a total shithole and then just dump them? Even when the cameras stopped rolling, the question lingered in her mind. The pain intensified as her absence became permanent, and she finally broke her silence. Explosions in social media. What should you do when you are taken by surprise, marginalized, and left out of something you contributed to? Are you the type to stay out of the spotlight and allow the story unfold naturally without do you? Alternatively, would you like to find that sweet spot where no producer dares to cut your voice? Liz Cavalier found the answer to be straightforward. Immediately, she accessed Facebook. Liz did not wallow in self-pity in the days following the shakeup of season 6. After logging into her page, she spread out her playing cards on the showcase the table to a multitude of admirers. Her remarks were simple and unadorned, as one would expect from someone speaking their mind. She failed miserably at crafting a professional press release, and instead informed her fans that she and the other original hunters were not allowed to get an explanation for why they were kicked out. Cutting occurred to more than just her. A number of well-known people were impacted by this massive shift. They were all in the dark as to why. Envision yourself devoting a significant portion of your life to a performance, taking part in art festivals, end yourself in bogs, risk your life to reach millions of people, and then get chilly, unexplainable boot. On this matter, Liz had no plans to remain silent. Instead of having it filtered through official remarks, she was hell-bent on telling her supporters it like it was. Word of her post traveled fast. Disbelief, pity, and fury were the reactions. From the fans, a lot of people would miss the Gator Queen and her kid if they weren't on the show. Why were they removed? Who decided? Will they ever return? Was a common topic in the comment sections. Return. Liz couldn't provide any answers, simply expressing her confusion. The word got out to the producers not long after that. According to Liz, they got in touch with her and told her to delete the posts. Perhaps some of them caved. At this stage, since I don't want to ruin relationships or make things worse. Nevertheless, Liz Cavalier differs from certain individuals. A rebellious and unforgettable remark came from her. "Let me kiss you." It was far from being a simple return. It was a declaration of autonomy. She made her voice heard with a brief, snappy statement. In order to make everyone happy, she would not change her words. Furthermore, she would never censor herself to appease another person. The resistance, if anything, strengthened her determination. Instead of changing her mind, she reaffirmed her feelings. She then clarified that she would always be honest and open about her feelings for Louisiana and her culture. It was easy to decipher the hidden meaning. She showed zero enthusiasm in putting the reputation of a production firm ahead of her personal values. How risky was it? Yes, there is a risk of missed opportunities in the TV industry when actors openly defy producers. Work ethics and their so-called regulations were of no concern to Liz anymore. Transparency, fan loyalty, and the joy of freely sharing her emotions with anyone who would listen were her instead. That was much more important to her than remaining silent in the hopes of receiving another invitation. The conversation elevated an intimate letdown to the level of a public scandal. The fact that Liz had been removed and instructed to remain silent about it was now known to the fans as well. Their frustration was intensified by that revelation. There was no way the story could have faded away subtly after her direct response went live. The impact of social media, a technique for removing the mask and revealing one's true feelings. The audience responded positively to Liz's honesty. She was no longer merely a TV character in their eyes. They saw her as an individual standing up for herself at a time when those in control wanted her gone quietly. The end result of her Facebook posts was more than simply an outlet for her anger. She had been portrayed by them as taking a small but powerful stand against the system that demanded obedience when she escaped from the Swamp People. It entered her legend for her admirers. It was easy for Liz. When a major plot point shifts in a TV show without any explanation, viewers are left to speculate. It was precisely this that transpired following the expulsion of Liz Cavalier and the other hunters from Swamp People. Given that neither the network nor the production company provided an official justification, as time went on, fans, and even some industry insiders, started to speculate about what might have happened. Money was the issue. According to a common rumor, word on the street was that Liz and other longtime hunters wanted more money. Years of laboring in perilous marshes, and given their role in the show's success, it's reasonable that they would negotiate for a raise. Many viewers attributed the show's success to the original cast members. They reasoned that producers might have found someone else to work for a higher salary instead of them. The issue was that absolutely nobody from the IT was validated by the network. It was just a rumor without any evidence. The concept persisted, nonetheless, as it appeared consistent with what had transpired. The idea that financial gain may take precedence over dedication to the show's creators infuriated fans. Claims have surfaced regarding the actions taken by Original Media, the production firm, following the cast shakeup. According to others, the firm made an effort to silence the former cast members who dared to voice their dissatisfaction. Given the lack of a written non-disclosure agreement, This only served to heighten people's curiosity. Such regulations are typically a part of reality TV contracts. However, the actors in this case were not required by law to remain silent. In the absence of an official accord, the rule of law was superseded by pressure. People began to wonder why the company wanted to maintain items quiet. Were there any other details they preferred to keep hidden? Or was it merely an effort to maintain the show's prestige when bringing in new actors? The producer's relationship with the fired cast members deteriorated as a result. In the past, Liz has showed bravery by speaking out even while advised not to. Her admirers held her in even higher esteem after this. They thought she was someone who never lied. Rumors and inquiries continued. They formed an integral aspect of discussions surrounding the program. A number of viewers started to view the new seasons with skepticism, questioning whether the show's unique traditions and characters were being sacrificed for financial and public relations considerations. The public was also prompted to consider reality television in its broadest sense. The creators have complete control over every scenario, but many people think it's real life. Who is shown, what gets said, and who goes missing mysteriously are all decisions they make. The abrupt departure of long-running cast members, like Liz, has a noticeable effect on the viewers, perplexed by the current situation. As memorable as Liz's appearance on the show was, for her fans, the absence of answers was equally so. What this meant for reality TV as a whole, whether or not the salary rumors were accurate, and whether or not the producers actually sought to censor criticism, were all points of contention. The original media and the network both failed to provide a satisfactory explanation. So, the onus was on the fans to come up with their own theories. In an effort to uncover the truth, every comment made by anyone associated with the show was meticulously reviewed. Because no one clarified what transpired, the enigma became entwined with Liz's narrative. Individuals conversing. The removal of her from the show was no longer the only issue. Not having answers also contributed to the growth of rumors and queries. A surprising return. Fans thought Liz Cavalier had left Swamp People for good after her long absence. It had been a dramatic, frustrating, and unanswered question-filled departure from the show following season 6. Viewers seemed to think the break would last forever. A second appearance by her in season 12 of 2021 was, thus, highly surprising. It was more than just a cameo. Either to her devoted fanbase who had been longing for a return to her charisma, charm, and acting prowess. Her triumphant comeback was a thrilling event. 94 episodes were Liz's total appearance count in season 12. Throughout the years, her role in the Swamp People's history was obvious, just by looking at the figure. Returning to the marshes of Louisiana to see her brought a feeling of comfort to many. Fans who had been away for a long were eager to see her return to the show, and their responses were all over social media. Her comeback seemed to breathe fresh life into the show. There were others who assumed it was intentional. Rumor has it that original media, the folks behind Swamp People, wanted Liz back for two reasons. One, to showcase her hunting skills, and second, to drum up interest. In the course of the program, after her and the other veterans were cut, many spectators thought the show had lost its magic and was missing something. Some thought that her return, however brief, would pique the interest of those who had lost interest. People who saw her perform in her earlier, Liz swiftly reintegrated into the system during seasons. Her confident demeanor, precise work, and interactions with the swamp and her staff brought back memories of why she had been an integral part of the team from the beginning. It was like she had never departed. The episode in which she appeared featured the same combination of suspense, grit, and humor, which made her a fan favorite. But just as she reappeared, she vanished again. Liz was absent from the following seasons after season 12. A lot of supporters were confused and let down by this. She was about to come back and they were about to lose her again. No official explanation was given for her brief reappearance. Speculation started right away. According to some, the deciding factor was a set of contract provisions that could not be mutually agreed upon. Some people thought that considering given the prior speculation about wage issues, remuneration may have been an issue once again. People had to rely on speculation and hearsay as no hard evidence was presented. Following their jubilation at her return, fans began to wonder if the same issues behind the scenes that led to her initial exit had made a triumphant return. There was also the rumor that her return was more of a calculated maneuver by the production business than anything else, adding another layer of intrigue. Rumor has claimed that Liz was brought back by original media in an effort to revive the show's notoriety and refocus attention away from followers who hadn't been actively involved for a while. Given that, it's possible that there was no intention to retain her permanently once that objective was accomplished. An unanticipated chapter to Liz's tenure on Swamp People was introduced in season 12. The results showed that in spite of issues, regardless of what had transpired, she continued to command the swamp and the devotion of her admirers. That she consented to come back was surprising to some, considering her past discontent with the way her departure had been handled. However, her brief reappearance highlighted reality TV's enigmatic character. In a world where public relations and strategic planning may be just as influential in casting decisions as talent and story, nothing is certain. Her 12th season fans often talk about how heartbreaking that year was. Once again, Liz's departure went unexplained, but they did get witnessing her at her peak performance. For a lot of people, it was like picking up a beloved book, reaching the end of a chapter, and then the book just stopped. There were more unanswered questions than answers when Liz returned in season 12. It made me feel nostalgic, excited, and the reasons the program greatly benefited from her presence. It further highlighted the mystery and uncertainty that had followed her since she departed. It is unclear whether the matter at hand was monetary, contractual, or a one-time choice. As far as the supporters are aware, there was a brief after the Gator Queen made her triumphant return to the marshes in 2021. The swamp dwellers finally felt complete. Beyond the program, Liz Cavalier's life continued to move at a rapid pace after her stint on Swamp People ended. She didn't just disappear from view. She discovered innovative ways to stay in the limelight, to teach others about her ancestry, her talents, and her passions around the nation. Her self-published cookbook, The Gator Queen Liz Cookbook, was a significant accomplishment. Infused with the profound cultural traditions of her childhood, this hardcover anthology showcased 109 recipes accompanied by 55 full-color images. In conjunction, this cookbook was more than just a collection of recipes. It was a way to remember her parents, who passed away, and the influence they had on her culinary career. There was a little bit of family history in every dish. The way Liz described the dishes and their histories endeared them to readers. Equally important to her as showing respect to her parents was sharing delicious meals with them. While following in her mother's culinary footsteps, Liz gave alligator a twist that was uniquely her. It catapulted her to stardom on television. She created meals that were authentic and very personal by combining her knowledge as a gator hunter with the techniques she had learned in her family's cuisine. The cookbook was a hit with Cajun foodies and swamp dwellers alike, who were able to bring a little piece of Liz's world into their own kitchens. But she was also talented in other areas. Outside of the kitchen, Liz followed her heart in making handmade decorations while she wasn't in the marshes or behind the camera. Using her social media profiles, she began to manufacture and sell things like floral wreaths and birdhouses. Crafted with painstaking attention to detail, each item, often displayed the same rustic. Her existence in Louisiana was defined by its natural aesthetic. Her ornamental work allowed her to keep in touch with her admirers on a personal level. Those who had enjoyed her work on television could now own a piece of her creations. It was distinctive, one of a kind, and crafted with the same care and attention to detail that went into her hunting and cooking, in contrast to mass-produced items. What made Liz special on the show, her determination and creativity, were on full display in her life after Swamp People. She discovered methods to utilize her background abilities, but also taking advantage of new chances. All the while being authentic to who she is, she persisted in sharing fragments of her life with individuals well beyond the Louisiana swamps. Whether it was via a recipe in her cookbook or a handcrafted wreath on someone's front door. At the same time, Swamp Dwellers continues into 2025, with the conclusion of Season 16 in April. On April 17th, the season finale, the final 48, gave spectators exactly what they were hoping for in terms of drama. As the season came to a close, hunters faced terrible weather, a race against the clock, and fierce competition for tags. The following day, the 24th episode of Gator Season, titled End of the Line, concluded the hunts in heavy fog, included strategic improvisation, and showcased the unwavering resolve of characters like Little Willie, Troy, Pickle, Jacob, and Pickle to go on their own terms. Some weeks later, the much-anticipated news reached the fans. Swamp People's 17th season has been verified as a result of Ronnie Adams' social media shout-out. The revelation sparked a flurry of activity in the community, indicating that the show's true swampers are prepared for the next phase. All things considered, the novel is a potent blend of renewal and continuity. Liz Cavalier has just discovered her fresh arena, where she nourishes spirits by means of memories and nourishment. In the meantime, the Swamp People keep changing on screen as they deal with things like tradition, weather, and survival itself. Surprisingly, Liz Cavalier's impact extends far beyond her roles on television. She inspired a sense of national pride in a way of life that many others across the nation could only dream of. Many people saw her as a conduit that could transport them from the bayou to the wetlands of Louisiana, where they could learn about a hidden culture. As she demonstrated, gator hunting entailed not just risk and excitement, but also dexterity, reverence for the natural world, and the maintenance of long-standing customs. Liz stood out on film because of the unique blend of tenderness and harshness she exhibited. Despite the fact that she was a woman succeeding in a male-dominated industry, her being present was never cliched or unnecessary. On the contrary, she demonstrated that gender is irrelevant when it comes to skill. By observing her, young women learned that it was possible to find a home even in places where they were told they did not belong. Her impact may be seen in how fans today discuss Sinjin culture, fauna of the swamp. The general population had either ignored or misinterpreted much of this history prior to her. Liz gave it life with genuine enthusiasm, never watering down her work or her origins to make it look good on TV. Being authentic became an integral aspect of her distinctive trait. There was still a lasting impression of her after she left the program. She is still mentioned by fans as one of the main characters from the show. Many people look up to her as an example of how subsequent cast members should be, regardless of the medium, whether it's creating or hunting. The name Liz Cavalier is still linked to ability, determination, and a profound affection for the bayou. At the crossroads of history and the present, we find ourselves as the continue into a new season with both familiar and unfamiliar individuals. Liz continues to celebrate her legacy through recipes. Having said that, in your opinion, was there more to Liz's eviction than what was reported on social media? After the shame, why didn't she reject the opportunity of a comeback? Leave your opinions in the space provided. Thanks for watching. To see more videos like this, use the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Take a look at the other videos here before you leave.